give away too much. It's like I've got no sense of touch. I'm always pouring out my heart, no little by little here. I'm always pushing things too far. 2, 5, 6, 10 drinks at the bar. No boundary. City of mine, how I love the city of mine. It never gets me down. City of mine, how I love the city of mine. It never gets me down, yeah.
Okay. Welcome to my channel. I'm Traveling Tony. Huh?
I said that's a beautiful intro, man. My bad.
Oh, thank you, man. I appreciate it. We don't have anybody in the box yet, but we started. So I'm Traveling Tony. I'm here in Dar es Salaam, Tanzania. I have a special guest with me. You can introduce yourself and let them know where you at, stuff like that.
All right, hey, I'm Gerard Ibn Lamont. I go by J or JBL for short. I'm originally from Detroit, Michigan. Also a U.S. Army veteran of 23 years, IT professional, and I'm residing right now in Embakasi, Kenya.
Embakasi, Kenya. Is that in Nairobi or is that a different city?
Yeah, it's Nairobi. It's an estate. Well, it's actually in a federal estate. But it's like, kind of like a state or neighborhood within, Nairobi itself. So, yeah, Nairobi has a lot of different estates.
Are you permanently living there?
No, negative. No, I was only here for like a month visit. But this is my fourth it's my fourth trip since 2021 to Kenya. Only here for a month. Actually, I leave this upcoming Wednesday to go back to the States.
Okay. So, but you plan on permanently living in Kenya eventually?
Yeah, that's the long term. That's a long term goal. But again, it's gonna probably be years in the making, right? I'm a big fan of O'Shea Duke Jackson and the Kinganda channel. And one thing, he talks about in his experience, it took him like over 17 different trips that he made between Poland and Uganda before he permanently actually resided in Uganda as he does now, producing the show. I'm gonna take it the long route. You know what I mean? It's not going to be something overnight. Again, this is my fourth trip since 2021. It's definitely a goal of mine for sure. To be here long term, hopefully within the next 5 to 10 years, and then maybe again traveling between the U.S. and Kenya, but actually making Kenya be in my base, and maybe also looking at South Africa as possible, like having property in South Africa as well, due to that foreigners can have title hold in South Africa versus in Kenya, you have to be a naturalized. Well, you have to be a naturalized citizen, or in order to have title hold lease of property. So those are the things that like I said, long term goal. I look at retiring here. You know what I mean? I'm 44. We'll be 45 at the end of 2024. So by the time I'm 60, I want to definitely be like, yes, I'm permanently here. In Kenya,
So what is the process to be a naturalized citizen in Kenya?
From my understanding, because I did speak to a lawyer a couple of years ago, you first, one of the ways you can do it is you get your permanent residency, which you can get through being married. And then from my understanding, it's like a 5 to 7 year process to go through naturalization, right? And I've heard a couple of different things, but that at least that one initial visit that I had with a lawyer a few years ago, that was the what the gist of what I got out of it. You know what I mean? So first permanent residency, you get married to a citizen. I mean, that's not the only way, but that's one of the quickest ways. to get your permanent residency and prove that, and then then it would be like I want to say 5 to 7 year process after that.
That's not too bad. That's not too bad. So at least
I'm
guys
sure
know.
it's more steps.
Yeah, yeah.
You know.
And there's other ways too. There's like retirement visas, all
Yeah,
types of stuff.
yeah.
You know,
Well,
retirement.
yeah, as far as getting like permanent residency, but I don't know like what the steps would be to be a naturalized citizen.
Naturalized
I don't
citizen.
know.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's how. Yeah, you see what I'm saying? Like, you know, that's a distinction, right? Of being a permanent resident versus being a naturalized citizen. You know, but you very well you could be right. I don't know. I'm not a lawyer. You know what I mean? So
Yeah, no. I know sometimes, you know, well, in America, people became citizens through having children. You know, like foreigners go, they have kids, and then they become naturalized citizens through their child as the bridge. But I think the same might be said for like Kenya and stuff like that. I know, you know, these countries, even here, like you could get a dependent visa as a man. There is a dependent visa because they don't want to break up families. So if you get married, you know what I mean? They're conservative countries, so they need to keep the family unit together. You're not trying to leave and stuff like that. Can you share any cultural adjustments you made during your visits and how they might influence your decision to relocate?
I would say, as far as cultural adjustments, I would say just, you know, having an open, you know, being an American, you know, you kind of like, you know, generally we're taught to think that, you know, America's way is the right way, that we're the greatest country in the world, and so on and so forth. But I already, you know, from being a Black American citizen, we already, you know, at least for me, I didn't, you know, take that full hook, line, and sinker anyway. But you know, going to another country and seeing how they do things and how they operate really makes you understand where we lack. You know, a lot of times you would think it would be the other way around. Like, oh, you know, you go to another country and they don't have as many technological advances, or the infrastructure isn't as good as ours. So therefore, that, you know, some people walk away from that saying, oh, look how great America is, and I didn't know what I was missing. Whereas you can say at the same time, like, as far as like I see how, like, you know, like you were going back talking about conservative values, or you know, family values or what have you. I feel like we really miss that in our society versus what you see, you know, at least in East Africa, right? You know, stronger family ties, much more, you know, much more respect for, you know, in my opinion, for men just in general, you know, coming from women or what have you, versus what we, you know, normally see in the United States, how men are ultimately treated like as jokes, and we're ridiculed and things of that nature. Like, you know, this just, you know, I'm sure there's a gender you know, divide as you know, anywhere there is to a certain extent, but it's not as evident here as in other you know, as in our country where we come from. So those are some things that I've really, you know, have appreciated in my travels here. Like, it just seems like just overall there's much more reverence to just men in general and to family, you know, than what you see in the United States generally as a whole.
Okay, no, I agree with you on that. You know, that's why coming to Africa for me was like it was like a coming to Jesus moment. You know, it's like, this is my people. This is how we're supposed to live in peace. Of course, there's going to be conflicts and stuff everywhere, right? There's going to be some type of conflict. It's just the extent and the magnitude of that conflict. Does it consume the society, or is it just little bullshit that happens? Because humans are going to have issues, right? If me and you occupy the same space, at some point we're going to have a disagreement. You know what I mean? Especially over extended period of time. We're occupying the same space. You know, I live differently from you, vice versa. You know what I'm saying? We're going to bump heads about something. You know, it's just human, what human is. But would you say, because we're talking about family structure and stuff like that, women respecting men and stuff like that, would you say in Kenya, men and women, or East Africa, right? But let's say Kenya, because that's where you're at. Are men and women competing against each other like they are in the West, or is it not as evident, prominent?
I mean, it's not as evident from what I've seen. You know what I mean? Like, honestly, I mean, I'm sure, but again, I'm not in a situation where I'm seeing that dynamic work out, where I'm in groups of where there's both men and women. You know what I mean? Like most of the time, I'm dealing with Kenyan women, right? I'm not dealing with Kenyan men, and nor am I'm not in a workplace. You know what I mean? I'm not in certain circles to where I can see that dynamic outside of, like, let's say, I'm going somewhere and, we're in the mall, or we're somewhere where, we're being served or what have you. Those type of interactions. I'm a tourist, right? And at the end of the day, I'm a tourist. So it's going to be limited. So but in general, I don't see that. I'm sure it's there, but I don't see that, as much as we see it back at home, you know what I mean? Where, like, where it's just, it's in the media, it's in social media. If you go on Instagram, you can't get away from it. I just, I literally saw today a reel where someone, people were literally fighting in court, or in child support court. I don't know what the context. You saw that one too? Yeah, guy, literally, a guy was throwing a TV, the screen, the monitor screen, and throwing blows at a female. You know what I'm saying? And women jumping on the lady, and it was just like chaos. You know what I'm saying? Like that I can say I don't see that in East Africa, right? You don't see that type of dysfunction in East Africa, but yet and still, what I have been told is, like, there's been a lot of female homicide, going on. Like, that's something big here in Kenya, right? And the women are protesting about, and, like, there's, guys are using dating apps and they're decapitating women and things of that nature, right? So, yeah, that was a big case here in Kenya recently. Like, what I'm saying, I've been told this like 2 or 3 times, and I've seen some headlines about it. I haven't like read into it, but yeah, it's a big thing. They were marching and all of that type of stuff. So I mean, I can't, just to be 100% clear and transparent. You know what I mean? That element is in the society, right? But I don't think it's to the point to where, like, you see, that's like, to me, I feel even these are one-offs. These aren't like,
I agree too.
You know what I'm saying? It's one-offs. It's not like, pervasive, any given other, day or whatever, we're going to, see that on social media, right?
It's not like Medellin, Colombia, where people are just dropping like flies.
Right, exactly, right.
So that's interesting. So, okay, in what ways do you see your skills and expertise contributing to the local community in Kenya?
Honestly, man, that's something that, I've thought about a lot. And again, I'm still in my journey just to get a foothold here in this country eventually. I feel what I could possibly help do would be, being that I'm in IT, right? And Kenya, one thing about what Kenya is known for being like a IT hub here in East Africa. I mean, there has a title it's called the Silicon Savannah, right? You know what I mean? They got Silicon Valley, so Silicon Savannah. There's a lot. You have all your major IT people here: PricewaterhouseCoopers, Microsoft, Google. There's a lot of IT expertise in this area, and what I work is in IT operations. And idea of mine would be to, maybe have a IT consultancy company. Look to see if I can get with other IT professionals in Nairobi and, like, maybe offer, select, consultancy for, like, small to medium businesses, right? That could be something, I don't know, something I would like to look into, to see, what is there a market for that? You know what I mean? For small to medium sized companies, to be able to bring certain IT projects and to the market for these level of companies, right? So that's something that I would like to explore and look more into. Just need to kind of dwell more into it. outside of that would be, just possibly, maybe just having some, very mom and pop type businesses or whatever, and just, just bringing the skills and business etiquette and professionalism, to the market that I feel like I could possibly, aid in doing so. So
Okay.
those are some things,
Okay, that's good. That's good. You really thought about that. That's good. Okay, that's a good question. So, how have you approached building a professional network and connections in Nairobi, Kenya?
Well, right now it's very small. I really only have maybe one person, one person
Yeah.
out, and that's through the group chat that me and you both belong to.
Okay.
Um, and I've slowly, through him, I've found another contact outside of him. Um, but yeah, again, I'm in the very nascent of my, what I'm saying, development or movement to Kenya in that manner, right? So through that person, I was able to get the lawyer that I was talking about that I did the consultancy with about the immigration into Kenya, and he also through that person I was able to find another Muslim brother that I know through this one person. You know what I mean? So that's at least three people that I know of in a professional sense. Um, so my network is kind of small. It's not big. Again, like I said, I've just been coming as a tourist, but that's my start. So I can say about three people at this point.
That's good. You got a basis, right? So you
Right.
building a network. That's good. I think
Mhm.
that's really good. What challenges have you encountered during your visits that may have made it difficult for you to be in Kenya, or other people may find difficult?
Well, I mean, the greatest one, as we have the title to the title to our episode, which I shared with you earlier, was I actually ended up losing my job. Coming here partially due to the infrastructure issue challenges that East Africa and Kenya has. So again, I work in IT. I've been working in IT professional for about probably about 12 years now. Most of that was with one company. Once it was with General Motors. I was with General Motors from 2013 to 2023. May 4th actually was my last day of last year. I went ahead and GM was looking to cut its white collar workers, right? Its professional staff. So they offered a buyout. So I took the buyout, and then eventually I ended up getting hired as a contract worker for their competitor. You can just guess who their competitor is, and so um, I was with them about 5 months. Decided to again I have friends and family over here, and so it had been about a year since the last time that I came. So I wanted to come to Kenya prior to Ramadan, because Ramadan's about to start probably about 7 or 8 days. Actually, I think it's supposed to start on the 11th, but give or take. And so it had been a year since I had last been in Kenya. So I made an attempt to come over or what have you, and basically I just explained to them that, hey, look, I didn't say that I was going to Kenya. I said, hey, I need these days off from work, which I had. I accumulated. I had those days, I had floating holidays. Make a long story short, part of my job is I have to respond to IT incidents, um, enterprise wide, and this company that company has facilities all across the world or what have you. And the day that literally 2 hours into my shift, the power went out.
Oh,
The power went out for about 5 or 6 hours, and I had no way to to be to connect to the internet, due to the power was out. And so I got that was the first hit against me on my trip. And then I had some network issues where I was unable to join the call maybe about 20 minutes, 20, 30 minutes into the call. And so that ultimately they were like, look, that's too many red flags, just two incidences of having some issues, and then they let me go. So yeah, man. So one of the things you have to be aware of, even though in the past, I had worked, and worked remotely, and they do have the internet infrastructure to be able to work remotely in Kenya, just like anywhere else in the States. Only thing is that there are sometimes power issues, and it seems like as of late, in this visit, I had the power cut off more than I had ever seen in the past 3 visits that I've been in different locations throughout the country. You know what I mean? So that one, the first one that happened to me, that's that 5 to 6 hour power outage. That was the longest of the 3 or 4 that I've experienced since I've been here. All the other ones were like probably less than an hour. But again, like for it to be only a month time frame, and it to go out that many times has been an increase than the previous times. And some people say that's due to the current presidential administration. I don't know. I'm not going to say neither here nor there, but I definitely would say it was way more than any of the previous times. And the previous times I came out, the first time I went, I was here for 3 months. The other 2 times I was here for 2 months, and I didn't experience those power outage issues as I've done within less than a month on this visit, at least 4 to 5 times. So that's something you got to think about if you're trying to be like a digital nomad or whatever, or you working remote, and you have to be like, hey, in my case, I was I had to be on call. I had to respond within a certain time limit, and it impacted my ability to do so. So, and I got to take that hit. You know what I mean? So it is what it is.
So you didn't want to look for a spot with a generator, or did you not think about it because you didn't have power issues?
I didn't. Yeah, ultimately, I didn't really think about it, to be honest with you. Yeah, I mean, and the thing is, like when you're in a building. Like for instance, this is a building, so the building may have a generator to get and then I might deal with the running lights, in the hallways and things like that. But we were talking about inside of the actual compartment itself. And that may be not, unless you're talking about a single family home, and I've never rented out a single family home. Like all the places that this power outage occurred in, it was a whole swath of the whole area. It wasn't like it was just one building. It was like a whole section was out, for a particular period of time or what have you. Like I was in an Airbnb. I was in a place where I rented a room, and this was a penthouse. You know what I mean? This was a penthouse, area. You know what I mean? Or overall, very nice. It's in Kilimani. You know what I mean? Kilimani, Kilauea area. Very upscale part of Kenya. You know what I mean? For this, and it was out for about an hour and a half, and this happened during my shift. Lucky enough, I had my cell phone, and the first incident I didn't have a cell phone with data. You know what I mean? To make the phone the hotspot. You know what I'm saying? But the second time it occurred to me while I was working, I did have a cell phone. And I was able to make the cell phone a hotspot. And I was able to remediate that. But I would say like outside of having, let me say, like a ups, to where like you have the router plugged into the ups, you know what I mean, and that's the only thing I can think of, or have a cell phone with data that you can use as a secondary instead of the the home internet router.
So there's like, before we get to this, so there's like,
that was a good statement though.
Yeah, there's industrial generators for the apartments and stuff like that, but you got they're going to charge you for it. You know what I'm saying? Like it's you paying for that gas and stuff like that. They're taxing because here the same thing happened, and it's not just Kenya. It's like I think all of Africa is having power issues right now with the load shedding.
Right.
The power just came back on here, like right when we got into the stream.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So the power's been this is the worst it's been since I've been here, and I've been in Africa since December 2021, and
Right.
it's crazy. So this is the craziest it's been, honestly. So
Yeah.
I
So
feel
you
you.
experience, yeah. Okay.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
feel
So
you.
yeah.
I
You
feel
see
you.
it. Right.
Kenya is more developed than here, so like the
Right.
power will go out for 12 hours and stuff like. But before it wasn't happening like that. Um,
Right.
so, what advice would you give to other Black Americans navigating job loss while in Africa or overseas in general?
Well, in my case, I had my ticket already bought. You know what I mean? I got my last check about 2 weeks ago. So, I guess make sure you have enough savings when traveling. If you're going to plan to be here for a long period of time or what have you, and ensure you have the capability, the means to withstand it. So in my case, you know, um, uh, I have a fiance. I have a place to stay. You know what I mean. I still had access to some funds or what have you. But yeah, in my situation, probably definitely would be good to make sure you have some backup cash in case you lost your main income or what have you. And yeah, man, I know this. I couldn't. I tried to file for my unemployment. I was like, okay, cool. I got fired. All right, that's cool. I got enough credits to file for unemployment, but I can't even. Every time I log into the Michigan unemployment portal, because I guess it could tell I'm using a proxy server. You know what I'm saying? It's just like kicking me out. So
What
uh,
service are you using? Did you try NordVPN?
I'm using. Let me see. What's the name of it, bro? I'm using ExpressVPN. And they're pretty good for the most
Yeah,
cases.
Express is supposed to be like number one, but yeah, Nord
Right.
is
Yeah.
Express is supposed to be
Yeah.
like the number one.
Like for the most part, like most of the things I can't access. You know what I'm saying? Especially like any of the social content, any of the streaming services or whatever. That's primarily what I would use it for. Right? Is accessing my streaming services back in the States. That's all good, but I don't know what for whatever reason, man. Like that unemployment web portal is giving me the fritz. So I'll find out when I get back to the States.
Yeah, it's just easy. Yeah, shit like that you got to do when you're in the States.
Yeah.
Because like being overseas and dealing with shit like that could be. Mm-hmm. I can't even imagine. That got to be a headache, And then the time zone differences. Because even calling like the VA, the time zone differences are crazy. But let's get to this question. He asked you a question. To Gerard, I had similar experience of working remotely from the Caribbean. Internet disruptions and power issues is a remote job killer. Remote jobs with the low availability presence is the only way.
Yeah, I can completely agree with you. Another factor I feel is that because I was a contract worker, like I listen, like what occurred would have been tolerated if I was hired in, but because it was minuscule to be honest with you. Except for the first incident. The first incident I was like 4 hours late to the call. The second one I was only like 20 minutes, and we have backup people. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I know a lot of it had to do with like, yo, I'm a contract worker, and it was like, hey, I think they just didn't want me to have, I really wasn't trying to come in on Wednesdays anyway. I think they kind of felt that. so it was like, oh, when I didn't make the first call, because of the power issue or whatever, freaking my supervisor was like, well, this is why we come in on Wednesdays. I'm thinking like, this is a Friday. You know what I mean? What does this have to do about coming in on Wednesday? You know what I mean? And I freaking was like, listen, I sent her the email. I was like, listen, hey, I'm gonna need to take these Wednesdays off because first and foremost, this job was like hybrid. It wasn't fully remote, so it was hybrid. So we came in Wednesday, but I had 3 floating holidays, right? And I had enough for one vacation day. So I said, listen, I got some issues happening family-wise that I need to attend and where I have to be out of state. So I'm going to need to take these Wednesdays off. And she was like, okay, fine. Mark it on our calendar, blah, blah, blah. But when I didn't show up on that, when I missed the first half of the call, I ended up showing up late. Or what have you, when the network came back on, that was the first thing she said, telling me about talking about a Wednesday. I'm like, what does it got to do with this? Is Friday? What does Wednesdays do? So I think maybe, just, I bucked the system by using, she couldn't really tell me I couldn't use my holiday. You know what I mean? So maybe she felt some type of way about it. And then, because there was some issues, then it was like, gone. You know what I mean? So I'm like, oh, okay, I see how this is. I can only speculate, right?
Right. Because they're not.
All right.
But it's probably just the traveling too, jealousy. You're traveling. People got an issue with. Because when I worked for the government, they had an issue with me traveling overseas too, even though I had the time. So,
right.
Just complaining about it. But okay, so next question. What are your experiences with theft in Africa?
Theft in Africa. So, let me see here. Okay. So I've had physical theft, like straight up, like somebody, came into my room and actually like stole like a phone of mine, a work phone of mine. Actually, I had to report that in, or what have you. I was in a situation where I was hanging out on the rooftop of where I was staying, and I had a few drinks, and then guy invited me to hang out, with the group that was upstairs. I was by myself. I just was lounging or what have you, and I remember coming down, I'm thinking like, damn, bro, I need to go lay down. You know what I'm saying? So I came back to my room and pass out. I passed out and I wake up. I remember waking up. I was on the couch. I woke up and like dude was in my room like eating some potato chips. I'm like, yo, bro. I'm like, bro, like, what are you doing? You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't remember him following me down or anything. I remember entering the room by myself, but I didn't lock the door. So maybe he saw me, whatever. I don't know. I wake up, but I was so like tired, bro. I was like so sleepy. You know what I mean? And I ended up just like falling back to sleep. But I woke back up, and I came to again. I'm like, oh, dude had left or whatever. And I started, going through my belongings. My laptop was there, had a portable, Bluetooth speaker, my wallet, like a bunch of things were there. You know what I'm saying? But as I later, my passport. But as I later went on, like the next day, that morning, as I, continued to do my inventory of my things, he had taken my business work phone or what have you. And so I ended up, reported it to the hostess. And they had security cams and everything, right? They had actually a cam, like literally they had a CCTV camera like facing right towards my door. So, we were like, okay, well, can we get the footage for that? You know what I'm saying? So we can use that as evidence to go to the police or whatever. Man, it was this person, that person. And make a long story short, like we never were able to get, the camera or whatever. And it was allegedly there was I'm sorry. Allegedly, like because I saw this guy multiple times afterwards. I confronted him about it. He was like, "Oh, he didn't know who I was." I'm like, bullshit. You know what I mean? But anyway, he was, allegedly he was staying there with somebody or whatever. And hold on just for 1 second. Hold on for 1 second.
But yeah, people, you got to be careful when you're partying overseas with people you don't know. You know what I'm saying? Letting people into your home. That's a big danger. You don't know these people. You got to be careful. Some people will come under the guise that they're your friends or whatever, but they see you're a foreigner and they want to see, how you living, where your money's at, things of that nature.
Yeah, most definitely, man. So yeah, nothing came out of it. That's just like, for whatever reason, like they could never get someone on site to pull the to pull the camera and all of that, and so on and so forth. You know what I mean? And it was just, you know, I ended up just getting another government. I mean, not a government, but another business phone or what have you. Anyway, but yeah, the police didn't really want to investigate it. You know what I'm saying? You know, another issue. Well, yeah. Another one was I was having somebody help me look for a place. Female, a Muslim sister that I had met online, and she had offered to help me look for a place or what have you. So this is during my very first visit. The first story I told you was on my second visit. This was my very first visit, and so ended up being an issue. You know, I again I was looking for somewhere where I can stay that had high speed internet. It was a mix up on the day that I was supposed to move in. There was a mix up on how much the internet speed was supposed to be, and in essence it was too low. So I ended up having to not stay there. So I had already paid the deposit for the first month's rent that I was going to be there, but the place couldn't pay me back the way that I paid them. So I had used M-Pesa to pay them, but they was like, "We're gonna have to cut you a check." Now, obviously, I'm only going to cut me a check. I don't have a bank there. You know what I mean? There's nowhere. I'm a cashless, right? So they cut the check, and the lady that was helping me look for the place. You know what I'm saying? So so she was like, "Okay, I'll cash it and I'll give you the money." Obviously, that never happened. You know what I mean? She never gave me the money. I did file a police report and everything, and she claimed that she lost the money or whatever the case may be. It was a bunch of crap. So she paid me about like $100 worth of the $500 that I had put down, and basically once I went back to the States, there was no pressure for me to go back and report report it to the police or whatever. So she cut all ties. You know what I mean? She was going to pay me, make payments while, or she never did. She only paid me like maybe say $100 worth of it, and that was it. So those are the two cases I can say about theft. As far as Africa is concerned, I did get my phone stolen out of my bag, out of my book bag. I had put them in a side pocket right before I went on the plane. This is this trip, and freaking when I got on the plane, my overhead bin was already full. So this was from JFK to Doha. That was the third leg of my trip. So I went from Detroit to JFK to Doha to Nairobi. That was the flight path, and so from JFK to Doha flight, my book bag, I had to put further ahead of me a few rows because there was no overhead space for my bag. And then by the time I was able to get to my bag, and when I finally noticed that my phones were gone, because we they had transported us to the terminal via bus, right from the plane. It was a bus terminal bus transportation to the actual terminal, the connecting terminal or what have you. By the time I noticed, man, it was probably 15-20 minutes later. I went to went to go for my phones, and my side pocket was already gone. So it had to have happened sometime during that flight or at the end of that flight, So that's something. If you make sure to secure your cell phones, I guess, on your person, or ensure your bag is somewhere where you can actually see it or what have you, because that could possibly happen. So now those are my theft.
That's good advice. Good advice. Yeah, I would to go on the second experience with the girl that didn't pay the money. I would tell guys, especially the first trip to Africa, because a lot of guys like to use online, which is fine. They like to pregame and stuff like that. But I would not trust any girl online. You don't know these people, right? With finances, because I've heard guys talk about they want to have girls help them look for businesses. They met a girl on Tinder. She seemed so sweet, so nice. They're going to send her, $800 so she can start the business. Then they get finessed and they're upset and they're talking about, man, it's just a bunch of users. But the same thing will happen to you in the States. You know what I'm saying? Like you on dating apps in the States, girls be like, oh, cash at me 300, so I know it's real. You know what I'm saying? So,
right,
I mean? So it's like are you gonna cash out the 300? It's the same. You gonna send somebody you don't know, $800, $1,000. But yeah, so be careful with the girls online, guys. Some of these girls, they're online all the time. They're talking to dudes constantly online. The same way I'm not saying like there's no good girls online, but I'm saying if you're not in the country, if you're in the country, you have a better chance of meeting genuine people because the good girls are not even going to talk to you when you're not even in the country. You know what I'm saying? They're going to be like, oh, you're not here, we can't do nothing. You know what I mean? Like, right. Build something.
And then my situation, like I didn't, you know what I'm saying, like the hotel / apartment, they did that without even my consent. You know what I'm saying? Like they did that without my consent, bro. I was like, yo, like, what's up with that?
They assumed that was your wife or something. You know,
they assumed that they assumed that because she was helping me. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
like, you know, she had some particular connection to me, man. Right. You know, and the bad part about it was like, you know what I'm saying, this lady, I had went to her house, bro. Like I knew where she lived and everything. You know what I mean? She had cooked food for me and all. Well, had her servant cook food for me. You know what I mean? This was an older lady with like kids and stuff. You know what I'm saying? You know, so it was like, you know, I had spoken to, you know, it wasn't even on Tinder where I met her. You know what I'm saying? So we had agreed just to be friends. You know what I mean? And you know, nothing more than that. But yeah, man, you know, it is what it is, dude.
Well, we got a comment for you. For most government sites are protected. Most commercial VPN will not work. You better build your own VPN on a mini PC like a Raspberry Pi. Damn, that's a lot of work.
That's a lot of work. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I'm sure. I mean, you know, if you got the network skills, you know what I mean? I mean, Raspberry Pis are fairly inexpensive. You can get them like from like $50 and under before a long period of time. I was looking to, you know, get one for my son. And bro, Raspberry Pis, you know, because of the chip shortage, you couldn't even find them. I think now, for like a while, you know, because of the chip shortage that was going on, Raspberry Pis you couldn't even find. There was like, you know, some other kinds you can get, but you know, but anyways, but yeah, I think that might have changed, but yeah, you have to have some pretty good networking skills, or at least be able to follow something maybe like on the internet. To do so.
So back to living in Africa. Does your race or heritage have anything to do with your relocation to Africa?
I mean, partially so, man. I won't even say partially so. I would say maybe no. It is a major factor as far as race is concerned. As far as less so about ethnic group, you know, or heritage, right? You know, because you know I recognize I'm a freedman. You know what I mean? I don't do FBA or ADOS. You know what I'm saying? I'm a freedman. You know, but anyways, I'm of the people who you know generations have been in America, and there's no sugarcoating that, and nor do I feel like I will fully assimilate into anything in Africa. I know, you know, as I'm an American, I'm from the West, right? I may be partially assimilate, but I'll never, you know what I'm saying? I'm 40-something years old, you know what I mean? Like, you know, to the best of my ability, right? You know what I mean? You know, like the other day, you know, somebody, you know, yeah, everyone keeps trying to get me to eat ugali, man. I'm like, I'm not doing it, bro.
It's nasty, bro. It's not even it's nasty, bro.
Yeah, I just, you know what I'm saying? I'm not doing it, nor will I ever eat with my hands like that. You know what I'm saying? Like I can't eat rice and ugali and greens, you know, and soup it all up, you know what I mean? Like a Somali or a Kenyan, you know what I'm saying? Like I'm always gonna have a spoon or a fork, you know what I'm saying? Like I can't go back on that. Now, will I try to learn some Swahili, you know, and try to, you know, be somewhat fluent with it? Yeah, you know, is that a goal of mine? Yes, but I'm an American, 100%. You know what I'm saying? A Black American on top of that. So, but as far as racial wise, right? Yes, it is definitely a huge component, man. I just, you know, being in the belly of the beast, as my people have been, man, for all these years, you know. I just don't see just the general decline of America as a whole, even for white people. How and how how bad is that going to be for black people? You know what I'm saying? The white people are going to catching hell. Black people are really going through it. I just don't see. I feel like the long term solution, or long and short, is to expatriate. Use your American citizenship to be able to earn American dollars for as long as the American dollar is worth something to earn, and leverage that buying power where it makes sense in developing countries. You know what I mean? That's just in general. That's just in general. You know what I mean? And for me, because I'm black, have African ancestry, I feel like you have a better shot in being a country where people are majority like you and are welcoming right? You know what I'm saying? So like that's another thing, because not every place in Africa is welcoming to other people. You know what I mean? Other African people or people from diaspora, let alone other nations. There's a lot of xenophobia. So like what I find is that East Africa is on general is peaceful. You know what I mean? So like I'm more so about East Africa than I would be than West Africa, right? Or so obviously Central Africa. You know what I mean? I'm more so, about East Africa than I am even of South Africa, because the people are much more welcoming. It's very peaceful. They have many years of being in a multicultural situation, right? Like in Kenya, there's all people from all over the East Africa here. You know what I mean? And pretty much people, for the most part, don't have any type of ethnic or tribal issues, compared to other parts of Africa, right? Where that's a problem. So for me, that's definitely the reason why I chose East Africa. Is kind of like I would want to be my base, where I will want to move is in Africa versus other areas of Africa.
So how do you plan on integrating into Kenya as a foreigner when you live there fully?
I mean, first it'll be through marriage. So like that's going to be, the primary way that I'm going to integrate. First it'll be through marriage. Like I said, get my permanent residency, and then first then it'll be like how I see you doing, building your domicile, right? You know what I mean? Building your home. You know what I mean? Buying land, building, and building a home first, like and just slowly just moving step by step, from that, right?
That's what I'm doing.
Either build my domicile, right, or or buying condos, maybe condominiums, maybe buying something furnished, as well as buying land and building an estate. So right, exactly. Like that's the first, is to secure a place to reside. That'll be the first thing. Like that'll be within the next year. My goal is between this year to next. I want to have at least enough to put at least if not purchase a full condominium or freaking at least put down a good down payment on a condominium here in Kenya. You know what I'm saying? Like really doing that. That's going to be my goal, man. The next year. So
Gooch explained it to me because enough, right? I didn't inquire fully about it, but he was saying I think you have to put 25% down and then you pay monthly payments.
Right. Yeah, they do. Years. I've seen those plans. You know what I'm saying? It's more so just get more information about for a foreigner to do that versus what else. I know they get the 99 lease, like you know what I mean. So yeah, definitely. I've seen the plans. I've kind of like looked out there, went on different websites. But the next for me is to get for me with anything I would suggest is always get legal counsel, like verified legal counsel. You know what I'm saying? Or anything that you do, instead of just trying to figure it out on your own. I think in the States you can figure it out on your own. I mean, because you got enough, stuff that you can back up on or whatever. But in a foreign country, I think I don't want to do nothing without legal counsel, legit legal counsel. That's another thing too. She's a legit lawyer, right? You never know.
Yeah, I agree with that. I also asked the local professional men. I get their advice. You go to the gym. It's a lot of professional dudes in the gym with money. You know what I'm saying? These dudes, they know the ins and outs of the country, so they can help you. The gym is like an information library. If you go there, if you want to go and learn about like things in the country, there's someone in the gym that knows. Because a lot of people that go, it's so expensive, right? Regular locals aren't going to the gym. You're paying like $60, $80 a month to go to the gym. You know what I'm saying? Right. So the elites of the country are going to the gym.
Going to the gym.
Going to the gym. So they do all the stuff we're trying to do. They spend lots of money on land and things of that nature. You know what I'm saying? Like, you'll be surprised. You go to some of those dudes' houses or apartments, crazy dope. Crazy dope. So do you think someone, a Black American, can move to Africa and not have to adapt to the cultural differences? Can you maintain your Americanness fully in Africa?
I think, and the more westernized the country is, probably so. I think you could definitely do that in South Africa. They're damn near like mirror images of each other. You could definitely do that, and you could probably do that in Nairobi to a certain extent. You know what I'm saying? Like, maybe some attitudes would have to change. Like, some attitudes would have to change. You know what I mean? For sure. Things. No, so. Not completely. Yeah, you're right. It can't be completely, because some things there's going to be differences. Like for instance, most people think we shout. You know what I'm saying? Like, when we're talking normal level, because like a lot of times I can't hear what Kenyans are saying to each other. They're talking. I'm like, what? Like, you heard what he just said? Because they talk so soft. Yeah. I'm like, you're whispering. Like, what? And then they're like, oh, you're shouting. I'm like, I'm just talking normal. You know what I mean? Like, I can't hear you. So that within itself is, will be frustrating for an American, right? But you have to kind of like, just be able to deal with that. People are not going to want, people are not going to understand the way we speak, even though, we feel like we're speaking, very clear English, but you know what I mean? But they, and one thing you're going to realize is that you think everybody else has an accent, but everyone thinks you have an accent. so the way we speak, we're thinking like, no, you're the one that's saying the word, water instead of saying water. You know what I mean? Give an example, right? Just a real, you know what I mean? That's just a clear one. That's just a real easy one I can go to, as amongst many of them, right? But everyone thinking because you say water that you're the one that is talking like a Mzungu. You know what I mean? So it's that. So yeah. But I would say South Africa probably the least change you really have to make. But again, they speak Afrikaans. It's the color thing. You know what I'm saying? You're American
too. Yeah, they're still gonna have a harder time with the American accent because they're used to British English. That's
right. Exactly.
American English is its own thing.
His own thing, exactly.
Own thing, especially.
So yeah, I mean, but yeah, you still, you're right. There's no way you completely can be ignored. You're going to have to adapt to a certain extent. I would say SA would be the least one of all of them, but it's still going to be changes because it's food. It's food differences. You know what I'm saying? Your electrical appliances, your outlets, you know what I mean? Like, all of that is different. The voltage is different. Like, I've screwed up two. I brought an air mattress, right, with the blower. You know what I'm saying? The one you plug in for the air. You know what I'm saying? To blow up the air mattress. As soon as I plug that, even though I had the adapter and everything, right? I had the adapter. You know what I'm saying? But it's like 240 over here. As soon as I hit the power button, it was like, a little smoke came out. You know what I'm saying? So I did the exact same thing with some clippers, right? I've had
That
these
happened to
clippers for
me too. Yeah. Clippers.
like I've had these clippers for like 12, 15 years, man. You know what I'm saying? A long time, bro.
Yeah.
And, I didn't have it in a power converter. As soon as I hit that button, you know what I'm saying? Smoke, into that. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, just electrical appliances, adapters, converters, things that step down and stuff. You know what I mean? Yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot to deal with, man. There's a lot to deal with. It's not one for one for sure.
Even patience, like
Yeah.
when ordering things, the process things are done. They move very slowly. Organizational structure fucked up. There's no real organization. Some things when you go some places, more local places, they're not very organized. So,
right. Yeah.
That's what we're gonna have to combat. Where have you been in Africa besides Kenya?
Just South Africa. Been to South Africa 3 times, but that was well over a decade ago. That was like 2010, 2011.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and then outside us, yeah, it's been a great, been a while, been a long time.
Okay, you've been coming to Africa for a long time, though.
Yeah, it was a big gap in between. It was about 10-year gap in between, and I went like again 2011, and then I went and came back in 2021. So it was like a 10-year gap. But I'm glad, man, that I did. I kind of had stopped. I don't know. Let's say I lost interest, but it was like, I got married to a South African, and it was just like, I went through a bunch of crap with her. So, I don't think I was really like thinking about Africa anymore. I went through some hella stuff with her. But yeah, and then for whatever reason, I got the bug back again. I was like I said, O'Shea. It really was O'Shea and Jackson Cooper, man. Both those 2 guys kind of got me looking into Kenya more so than Uganda. I was like, oh, okay, yeah. Let me figure this out, man. So
Jackson Cooper, that's the Coop's Corner guy.
Yep, Coop's Corner. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I met him on Razor Rays. I never
Oh,
heard
yeah.
of him.
Yeah.
Cool dude. Yeah, seen him on Razor Rays. We were in the panel. So, do you think, or have you been seeing more Black Americans with interest in Africa, or is it still, very low amounts of people?
I mean, let's see. Well, we know each other from the group, from the WhatsApp group. So that might skew my overall. I'm these people I interact with on a daily basis, right? so it seems like it's more, but it could be just because of who I'm exposed to, right? I do feel like there is Tone. Maybe he's having some technical issues at the moment. Okay, back at it.
I'm back. Somebody had called me. I hate when people do that.
Yeah, okay. That's right. You're using your phone. Yeah. Yeah. I think there is a general more interest. It seems, just based on like, the different channels that I watch on YouTube and the different comments, guys that I speak to, people that I've spoken to personally, just through work and stuff like that. Other, guys are like, yeah, they either South Africa or Kenya as being a destination spot. People are a little bit more open to it. But I feel like just in general, in the overall passport bro community, it's not going to have the same, just the cost alone, just to come, it's only going to be a minority of those who can actually truthfully participate. But just the mere channels, the checks in effect, freaking Jackson Cooper, what I'm saying, Coop's Corner, Anthony, Ashley in Africa, You know, I mean, you name it. You know what I'm saying? So many King Gardner with O'Shea Du Jackson. There's so many different channels that have expanded. You know what I mean? Their subscriber base has gone up. There's definitely an interest out there. You know what I mean? In the continent, would it be as much as it is for Colombia or Brazil? I don't know. Philippines, Thailand, I don't know, but I feel like it's a better alternative to those other countries I just named.
How is dating in the States? Nah, I haven't been back in a while.
Yeah, man, it's whack as whack as ever, bro. So yeah, I'll just leave it at that. I dibble and dabble in that, every once in a while, you know what I mean, and in that in that arena, and each and every time it just reconfirms why it's just for play, it's not for
right,
not to stay. It's just to play and not to stay.
Yeah, a lot of people. Have you noticed, like you were talking about these other content creators, platforms growing? Have you noticed that the whole passport leaving the nation thing is becoming a bigger movement amongst men in America or Western men?
I think so, man. I mean, it definitely has been like the most hottest topic in YouTube world. You know what I'm saying? For at least since 2022. Because that's when I noticed it. Like in 2022, it seemed like they started picking up steam. Because like when I was, in 2021, it really wasn't, when I came to Kenya, it really wasn't a lot of people even talking about that. They were still talking about manosphere type topics and the gender war type stuff. Then next, it seemed like 2022, spring of 22 forward, and it's been again, it's a hot topic. It constantly, it's constant people making references to it in some form or fashion. Yeah, man, I do believe there's a lot of, I think there's a lot of, especially certain, like I want to say professional men, you know what I mean, men who who have the ability to. I think it seems to me there's a concerted agreement of like, hey, we're checking out. You know what I mean? At least from what I can see. But then again, like I'm in tune to this all the time, so I'm kind of biased, I guess. I won't say necessarily biased, but my views may be skewed because of what I'm looking at. I'm paying attention to these type of things, more than ever. But at least it seems to be a consensus. Like people are, what I'm saying, are checking out, bro, looking for other things.
Definitely does seem like a consensus amongst men in America and the things I've seen. So you said in the YouTube world. So what about in the real world in America? Are people talking about the gender war? Are they talking about passport bros in the real everyday world?
I mean,
factor.
I can't say, like, I don't think it doesn't naturally come up in conversations amongst people that I know of, but then again, I'm not like a real social person, you know what I'm saying? Where, I have a lot, you know what I mean? Like, generally speaking, like when I speak to guys or I speak to people, because I also drive Uber, right?
Right.
So I do talk to people sometimes, and generally speaking, like most of the times, people don't know most of the content creators that I talk about, or I may bring up in a conversation with like a male passenger, going to the airport or whatever. Most of them don't. I mean, they know Kevin Samuels. They may know that.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Everybody knows
like,
him.
Right. But Austin Holland, like they don't know Austin Holland. You know what I'm saying? I think you got to be kind of really in tune into the space to know some of the players in the space, right? So I wouldn't say that like your average dude, your average guy that's going to the football game. I don't think it's they may, like I said, they may know Kevin Samuels, they know some of the manosphere type of talking points, but I don't think they're in tune to like the passport bro talking points. I don't think it's that mainstream. where your average dude at the barbershop. But let's say that your average black dude at the barbershop, I don't think are are open to that. Then maybe the DR conversation, they may know that. You know what I'm saying? Maybe, I don't know.
So okay.
That's just my personal opinion.
No, that's interesting because a lot of people don't really talk about this shit. So it's interesting. Like, obviously, everybody's gonna know Kevin Samuels, but
right.
Do you think, not just Austin Holloman, but do you think the passport bro thing will make it to that level of red pill notoriety, where people are like referring to living overseas as?
I think it's going to always be. I think it's always going to be a sub component of the madness of red pill. I think it's going to be just like how you got MGTOW, black pill. You know what I mean? I don't think it's ever going to be a conversation of it of itself or a topic of itself. You know what I mean? It's going to be a subcomponent of the red pill or of the manosphere. You know what I mean? Because again, for only a few can even participate in it. You know what I mean? Anybody can participate in the large scale red pill. You know what I mean? You know, but only a few can do the traveling. Only a few can, like, you know what I mean? Because people got kids, people have, criminal records that may or may prevent them from getting a passport. I mean, it's only a small percentage of Americans, period, irregardless of race and income, that have passports. So it's already kind of like something that's kind of exclusive, and it's, you know what I'm saying? It's kind of, I won't say exclusive, but you know what I'm trying to get to is
you're right.
It's a barrier to entry.
Yeah, no, you're right. It's like even amongst the travel space, right? There's very few people that actually live overseas.
Right, and expats like yourself.
Fewer people that are Austin's age living overseas.
Right.
He's like in the 1 percentile or less. Right. So like less than. So I get it. It's definitely like exclusive at this point. A lot of people are what I'm starting to see is a lot of people are putting themselves in content creator shoes, like living in Austin shoes. They're tired of life in Houston, so they're living, they're tired of life in New Orleans, so they're like escapism through YouTube. That's like
right.
But so are you partying this weekend, man? You doing anything this weekend at all?
Nope. No, man. Nope. Nah. Not for me, man. I may just. Today's Saturday, right? So I'm just with my fiance, man. We're gonna. In fact, I'm probably let's wind this down.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's wind it down. But yeah, man. Nah, just chilling, bro. Nothing.
Okay. Really. Yeah, man. I appreciate having you on the show, man.
Definitely, Tony. Thanks for having me, man.
No problem, man. We'll definitely run another show again, man.
Yeah, for sure. I appreciate it, Tony, man. Hopefully I gave some people some insights, some stuff they can learn from.
They definitely have to take some away from this. You were real transparent about your experiences. Phones getting stolen, job, everything. Yeah. So, there's no way. Yeah. The shit might get 100 views, 200 views, but somebody's gonna see it.
Right. All right, Tony. I'll talk to you later, man. Thanks, Tony.
Yeah, guys. Thanks for tuning into my show. I'm still trying to do these lives once a week, maybe twice a week. I'm not going to be doing videos as much anymore. I'm going to scale back on the videos. I kind of want to make my videos more about something. I'm going to throw out this interview I got with G, and I think No Excuses in the video also. Shout out No Excuse, shout out Mr. G, shout out all the homies on YouTube. But yeah, so thank you guys for tuning in. I'm going to drop a members only video in a few days. After that, I'm going to drop, like I said, Mr. G's opinion of Tanzania, Haitian Americans' opinion of Tanzania, how the people treated him, how he's received, how he likes the country, would he come back, stuff like that. He's going to answer those questions, or he answered them. I just have to release the video. If anybody wants to come up for a few minutes, you can hit the link. I'll give it a couple minutes. not, I'm gonna eat. I can't do the 6-hour live streams. I'm sorry. I'm not built for the 6-hour live streams. It's not for me. But I'll get on here, chop up some game with the audience, with some people, and keep it like that. Do I have my house? I think I might have my house up here to show you guys. Let me see. Do I have my house up here? No, I don't have the upgraded house. I'm gonna have it on my next live. Um, I'm gonna show you guys what my new house is looking like. The finished version. Well, the finished draft. The second draft. I took the second draft. It was good enough for my future home, my next home. But yeah, if anybody wants to pull up, they can. You got any questions about Africa, you can ask them. I'll give it a few minutes before I go eat my dinner and lay down. Like I said, I'll be going live maybe about once a week, sometimes twice a week. Live will be replacing a video release sometimes. Instead of doing a video, I'll just do a live. I'm going to be doing videos about my home building process. I'll be showing you guys the insider of building and stuff like that. I'll be trying to do one of those videos maybe every 10 days, every week and change, you know. So you guys will see how much it costs, how the house gets built. I'm going to be paying for my foundation pretty soon at least. So I'll be out there filming the foundation. I'll upload it. I'll do a live about it as well. I don't know if I'm going to go live while I'm out there. I might go live when I'm out there and they're doing the foundation. I just don't know if anybody's going to catch it, because like when I go do the foundation or whatever, it's going to be maybe 12 p.m. here. So, you know, if you're on the East Coast, that's 4 a.m. your time, so you're not even going to catch the live. So it's probably just better for me to drop it as a video. I can't really record. I mean, I could go live in the afternoon, depending on like, you know, when the sun's going down and stuff like that. Right now it's kind of rainy, so the sun's going down early. It's cloudy. So me going to my land. I'm also going to do a video showing you guys the type of land or plot you don't want to buy in these countries for building. I'm going to show you guys a land like on a crazy slant. You don't want land like that. It's not good for building. It's going to cost you a lot of money. You also want to be closer to the main road, because they're going to charge you for transportation. They got to go through a bunch of bullshit to get to your land. So be aware of those things. Also, I want to hit on this again for the guys coming to these countries, because there's different information out here, right? When you come to these countries, understand they are patriarchal countries. They are run by men. So when doing business, yes, your girl can negotiate for you, but make sure you're at the forefront. You initiate the conversation. Don't just stand in the back looking like a weenie. You know what I'm saying? Like, be up there in the mix to garnish that respect. If you don't get that respect, I mean, I guess it depends what type of dude you are, right? But for me, I want to be respected. So when you're getting your house built or you're buying something, yes, your girl can negotiate, but these are patriarchal countries where men run the show. You have to be masculine. It doesn't look masculine when you got your girl in the front as a shield and you're in the back, you know, like sniveling and stuff like that. No, you want to be out there with your chest out, talking to the dudes directly. If there's a language barrier or anything you don't understand, your girl will assist you, but you are the focal point. And that's all I got for you guys. It's a short little live. I know this is one of my shortest lives I've done. I'm just tired. I did some running. I'll be back on this later. Thank you guys for tuning in. Peace.